Hey there, I'm John Farrell, an estate planning attorney at the Farrell Law Firm. Today, I want to talk to you about the estate planning mistake of Mr. Nelson. Stick around to the end because there's a surprise about Mr. Nelson's estate. Mr. Nelson was a man of remarkable talent, a man who shaped an entire industry whose work touched millions, a man who built an empire, one that should have stood as a monument to his genius long after he was gone. But when he passed away, his family wasn't left with the fortune he had created. Instead, they were left with a legal nightmare. And now, you're about to hear the story of Mr. Nelson's mistake. The day was April 21st, 2016. Mr. Nelson is found unresponsive in his home, and the world loses a true original. His life had been one of absolute control. He dictated every detail of his work. He fought relentlessly to own and control his business and to protect his work. But in the days that follow, as the world mourns, those closest to him make a shocking discovery. Despite his wealth, despite his success, despite the years he had to prepare, Mr. Nelson left no will. No trust, no instructions for what should happen next. And without a plan, the state takes control. A court steps in to divide his fortune. Family members, some close, some estranged, are thrust into a battle over who should inherit what. And while they fight, the taxman and attorneys take their share. Year after year, the estate drags through probate, bleeding away millions in legal fees. By the time everything is settled, 6 years later, an estimated $60 million is gone. Not to charity, not to his family, not to the causes he believed in. Gone. Because he never took the time to put a plan in place. At first, his family assumed the process would be simple. He had no spouse, no children. Surely the assets would be divided amongst his closest relatives. But nothing is simple when the government steps in. Half-siblings emerged to claim their share. Distant relatives made their case. And the longer the battle stretched on, the more hands reached into the pot. Attorneys, executors, tax collectors. An empire once valued at $156 million became a dwindling sum, eaten away piece by piece. And worst of all, the man who had spent his life controlling his work had lost control of it in death. Because without a plan, it wasn't his wishes that mattered anymore. It was the court's. Mr. Nelson should have known better. After all, he had spent a lifetime controlling every detail of his work. He had fought billion-dollar companies for ownership of his work. He had changed his very name to escape bad contracts. But when it came to his legacy, he left it all to chance. Maybe you knew him by another name, a name that symbolized brilliance, creativity, and revolution, because Mr. Nelson was actually the artist known as Prince. That's right, the legendary musician Prince Rogers Nelson. A man who crafted some of the greatest songs in history, but left his own story without an ending. If it could happen to him, it could happen to anyone. No matter how much or how little you have, one simple truth remains. If you don't decide what happens to your legacy, the government will. It doesn't matter if you're a multi-millionaire with a music empire or a hardworking family building a nest egg. Without a plan, your loved ones could be left with chaos instead of clarity. Prince could have saved his family years of stress and millions of dollars with one simple step. But he didn't, and his story became a cautionary tale. You don't have to make the same mistake. Not next year, not someday, now. Because the truth is, estate planning isn't for the wealthy. It's for the prepared. It's for the people who want to protect their families, their hard-earned assets, and their legacy. So don't leave your family with questions. Give them answers. Give them security. Give them a plan. Now that you know the story of Mr. Nelson, what's next? If you want to make sure your estate plan is set up the right way and avoid costly mistakes, book a free consultation with me and you'll find the link in the description. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and check out my other estate planning videos. Trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.